Welcome. Today, we're diving into a concept that pushes the very idea of compassion to its absolute, mind-bending limit, the epic vow of the Bodhisattva. To really get this, let's just start with a question for you. What do you think is the ultimate sacrifice? Just take a second to think about it. Because we're about to explore how one spiritual tradition answers that question in maybe the most radical way you can imagine. So, first things first, what is a bodhisattva? Okay, imagine someone who's on the very brink of becoming a Buddha. They've done the work, they're at the finish line, about to enter that final, peaceful state of nirvana. But instead of crossing it, they make this unbelievable choice. They turn back. They willingly jump back into the mess of life and death, and they vow to stay right there, in the thick of it, until every last living being is free from suffering. And that incredible commitment is captured in vows like this one, which you can find in ancient texts. It's a promise to put your own ultimate prize on hold for everyone else. It's a type of compassion that's so big it's almost hard to wrap your head around. So what does a promise like that actually look like in practice? Well, our first section gets right into it, exploring the price of this vow through the lens of giving. And we're going to do it with the absolutely astonishing story of a guy named Prince Allholder. Prince Allholder's whole life, his entire identity, was built around one single principle: giving. If you asked him for something, you got it. No exceptions, no second thoughts. This wasn't just him being charitable. It was like a fundamental law of his being. So one day, a rival kingdom asks for the single most valuable thing he has access to, his father's sacred white elephant. Now, this wasn't just some animal. This elephant was seen as the spiritual and military protector of the entire kingdom. But the prince, believing that this one act of giving could stop a war before it started, just gives it away. Yeah, that didn't go over well at all. The king and the court were furious. They saw it as treason. And for this radical act of peacemaking, Prince Allholder, his wife, and their 2 little kids are stripped of everything and exiled into the wilderness. And this is where the story goes from extreme to something else entirely. Out in the wilderness, a poor man finds them and begs for servants. The prince has nothing left to give, except for his children. And in an act that really tests our understanding of love and attachment, he gives his son and daughter away. Now, the point here isn't to see this as cruelty. It's meant to show a commitment so absolute that it goes beyond even the bonds that we consider the most sacred. So as you can see from these stories, there's this clear escalating pattern of sacrifice. It starts with stuff, possessions. Then it moves up to kingdom and power. Then it gets to what we hold most dear, our family. And ultimately, as we're going to see, it leads to giving away one's own body and life. It's like a ladder of letting go. But this whole path isn't just about giving things away. It's about developing a compassion so deep, so unshakable, that it even extends to those who want to harm you. So in another famous story, the Bodhisattva isn't a prince anymore. This time, he's reborn as a magnificent golden deer, the wise and gentle leader of his herd. Which, right away, tells us that this kind of compassion isn't just a human thing. It's a universal potential. As the story goes, a man gets caught in a raging river and is just seconds from drowning. Without even a moment of hesitation, the golden deer dives into the rapids, risks everything, and pulls the man to safety on the shore. The man, of course, is incredibly grateful. He promises he'll never, ever reveal where the deer lives. But pretty soon, the local king offers this huge reward for anyone who can find the mythical golden deer. And yep, tempted by the gold, the man breaks his promise. He leads the king's hunters right to the deer's home. The contrast here is just so stark, right? On one side, you have pure, selfless compassion. On the other, total selfish betrayal. So the deer is surrounded. Hunters have their bows drawn, and what does it do? It doesn't beg for its own life. Instead, it speaks to the king and begs for the life of its betrayer. It explains that the man only did what he did out of ignorance, and that the act of being ungrateful is its own kind of terrible punishment. And that's the core of it. A bodhisattva's compassion is unconditional. It doesn't quit, even when it's betrayed. Now, these challenges aren't just external things like rival kings or betrayers. The path of the bodhisattva demands this intense internal battle, a fight against your own fear, your own doubt, and your own temptations. So in our third story, we meet King Good Omen, another bodhisattva who's famous for his incredible generosity. His goodness actually attracts the attention of Mara, who's this major figure in Buddhist mythology who basically represents illusion, temptation, and everything that gets in the way of enlightenment. Mara's whole goal is to shatter the king's spirit, so he appears before him and conjures up this horrifyingly real vision of hell, a world of fire and torture and endless pain, all designed to scare the king into giving up. And then Mara delivers his big lie. He says, "Look, this is what you get for all your giving. All your good deeds lead to this." But the king, with this profound wisdom, just sees right through it. He calmly replies that suffering like this doesn't come from generosity, it comes from greed and hatred, the very things he's trying to get rid of. And then he says this. He doesn't just call out Mara's lie, he completely flips it and doubles down on his own vow. He basically says, if my suffering means others can be happy, then I'll take it, gladly. Let everyone else go to heaven, I'll stay here in hell as the giver. That is my promise. In that one moment, he totally defeats the demon, not with weapons or magic, but with the indestructible strength of his compassion. Wow. Okay, so after going through these incredibly intense stories, what are we supposed to take away from all this? What's the real legacy of this radical path? While these stories are all designed to showcase what are known as the perfections, and they're not just regular virtues, they are ideals that are taken to their absolute, logical conclusion. We see ultimate generosity in giving away not just a kingdom, but your own children. We see unwavering patience in forgiving the person who betrays you, and we see profound wisdom in facing down fear itself with compassion. And this is probably the most important thing to understand. It's so crucial to see these tales not as literal historical events, but as these profound thought experiments. They're like philosophical stress tests. They're designed to push an idea right to its breaking point, to ask, just how far can selflessness go? What are the absolute, unconditional limits of love? Which really brings us right back to the beginning. These stories push ideals to an extreme, maybe even an uncomfortable one, just to make us think. They challenge us to look at our own world. In a culture that so often seems driven by self-interest, they ask us to really consider the true power, the incredible, transformative ripple effect of just one single selfless act. What could that look like for you?